The Household Energy Service started about 3 years ago. The Wasteless Society commissioned a research project to find out the carbon footprint in our locality, an area round about 6 miles radius of Bishop's Castle. And we discovered that the carbon footprint in this area was slightly higher than the national average. And there are good reasons for that. We're an isolated rural community. We have to drive long distances to work quite often, and we live in a lot of old houses with a lot of special problems like open fires, drafty chimneys, badly fitting windows, and no central heating. So we do have specific fuel problems. We applied for funding from the Energy Savings Trust and via the Marches Energy Agency, and we've also had help and support from the South Shropshire District Council, South Shropshire Housing Association and the Bishop's Castle Town Council.
I got in touch with the Wasteless Society to arrange for an energy survey, and one of their representatives came round with a laptop, and it was basically a question and answer session. I found it very useful, and the first thing I've done is started changing the light bulbs over to energy saving bulbs, particularly in the areas that are used the most. I've also tried to make sure I turn off things that are on standby, and I have found that that's reduced the amount of electricity I've been using. I've also been looking at putting an extra layer of insulation in the roof and burning a little bit of wood, more wood instead of coal on the Rayburn. I found the survey itself made me feel much more positive in my attitude to what I was doing and made me much more aware of how much electricity I was using.
I was new to the village and I wanted something to do in the community, and I saw it advertised, and so I went and I met Kate, and she gave me a rundown on how to use a database and how to run the surveys. And then I went out and did my first survey with an elderly lady in the village local to me, and she was knocking about in a huge house on her own, and it used to be a guest house, but she was living on her own in it now since her husband died. And she found it really interesting. She was great to do the first one with. She loved finding out her carbon footprint, and she liked it so much she recommended me to some of her friends to do some more in the village. In contrast, the second lady that I went to was living in an old prefab that should have been knocked down, but the housing association had kept it going by building a skin around the outside of it. But it was very cold. She was using a lot of coal, and she was spending a lot of money on her heating. So it's been useful that we've been able to make recommendations to the Housing Association on her behalf to try and improve her situation. I've done a fair few surveys since. I've enjoyed every one of them. It's been great meeting all the different people, and it's been nice to put something useful into the community that I feel has been useful into the community.
I think the Wasteless Society and the Household Energy Service is a really good service. As far as I know, we are a unique community-based service. You can find your carbon footprint online, and there are other ways to do it. But to have an actual personal relationship with somebody that you can ring up and ask for advice on, and they'll come round even and give you technical advice. Our energy officer will give you technical advice. The Wasteless Society in general, I think, is a brilliant organisation. I really enjoy working for them. I am the volunteer coordinator. A lot of people ask me, well, with China and India and everybody else using so much energy, and why should we bother? How can we make a difference? And I understand that feeling absolutely, but I also feel a journey around the world starts with the first step outside your own house. And if we don't start making that journey, then how else Will we get other people to do it? We all use more energy than we need to. We're all encouraged to by advertising and the general capitalist market world. And we need to start thinking about how we look after our planet. We've only got one, and if we mess it up, there isn't anywhere else to go. So my personal feeling is I'd rather be a very small part of the solution than add to the problem.